Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this recorded video, Frogskin Abominations. Curt and Levin. Hey, it's me, I'm Grim Griswold's Grim here on the internet, and as you and friends of the channel will know, as you and friends of the channel and all the smart people that come here know, Alex Jones, before they took him out, Alex Jones warned us that they were turning the frogs gay. And ladies and gentlemen, this beholder eye stalk has caught a glimpse of an update on what they do after they turn the frogs gay. So stay tuned. Here we go.
So this is very isomorphic to problems in neuroscience, to problems in artificial intelligence. It's trying to understand the scaling of minds, and in trying to do that, we pose the following problem. Okay, standard tadpoles make, standard frog eggs make frog embryos, and everybody's kind of used to that. Even though you can remind, I always remind my students, did you realize that if I gave you the frog genome, you couldn't tell me what a frog looked like? Right? You could compare it to other genomes that you did know what, but that's cheating. Okay. So we asked the simple question: where does the goal of making a frog or tadpole really come from, and how hardwired is that? So what we did was we took some skin that we scraped off of an early frog embryo. We set it aside in a different environment, and we said, okay, now you're free to sort of reboot your multicellularity. You're here. We've relieved all of the constraints of the rest of the embryo. You're no longer getting instructive signals from endoderm and from mesoderm and from all these other things. You're no longer subject to all these other signals. What are you going to do? All kinds of things they could have done. They didn't do any of that. What they did instead was to combine together and to form a little ball that grew cilia, these little motile hairs on the outer surface. Now, cilia are normally sitting on the outside of embryos, and they're there to kind of redistribute the mucus around and to, make the pathogens sort of keep moving.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but that looks like a little horse. This frog cell abomination looks like a little horse. See, look. You see up here in the top here. This little guy here looks like a little horse.
Moving and not stick, of redistribute the mucus around and to make the pathogens sort of keep moving and not stick to the skin. They're used to keep the surface of the tadpole clean. But instead, these cells basically repurposed that genetically encoded hardware. The cilia themselves are genetically encoded. All the proteins necessary to make a cilium are in the genome, so they have that already. But what they did was they assembled themselves into a new kind of architecture, this spherical thing, and then they used the cilia to propel themselves. So they started running around. They started moving around, and so we have these amazing videos of them moving around singly, moving around in groups, interacting, going through a maze, going back and forth in various configurations. They have all kinds of behavior.
Listen, if there's one thing the history of evolution has taught us, it's that life will not be contained. Life breaks free, expands into territories, and crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but there it is.
Almost entirely in half, they will join back and make a Xenobot again, and so the coolest thing about them is, and by the way, we don't know their cognitive capacities yet. Okay, we're only beginning now to start to see, can they learn, do they have preferences, all these kinds of things. We don't know yet. But the coolest thing about them is that, to my knowledge, they're the only creature on the planet that doesn't really have an evolutionary backstory. The individual cells do. Okay, the cells have a long evolutionary history on Earth, but that genome was selected for the ability of these cells to sit quietly on the outside of the frog and keep out the pathogens. They were not selected specifically to be able to get together and run around in a separate configuration away from the embryo.
Life finds a way.
This special episode of the Grim Greys Frogskin Abominations, Curt and Levin, brought to you by the Shadow Cabal of production executives, Gideon, Gavin, Higher V, Lance, DD, Sizzletits, KW, and Little Ol R. Thanks again, everyone.